the market has actually had a terrific run.
Yeah.
We're up probably 15% or so from the beginning of April up until a couple of weeks ago. And we understand why. GDP in the second quarter, 4.2%. Earnings are up 25%. It was phenomenal. We're in the midst of what I would characterize as sort of a fundamental vacuum right now. And this is where things like the tariffs or the concern about trade and tariffs really comes to the forefront. Market's been down a couple of percent over the last couple of weeks, and I think this is one of the reasons why. Concern about that, this stuff that's going on in the White House, concern about what the Fed may do in a couple of weeks. I think the markets are getting a little bit nervous with the absence of any new fundamental news.
Is this just noise, and it's going to be noise that sits there until the next earnings season comes around or the next great government report, or is this something that you think actually matters?
So in our view, we think the trade and tariff situation is noise. We think it's a negotiating ploy. We think we're trying to isolate China and get to a better place where we can resolve the issue with the intellectual property and try to narrow this $375 billion trade deficit with them. But the question is still out there, will this negotiating tactic work? Are we going to be worse off a month or two from now than we think we're going to be? And that's something that the market's going to have to grapple with.
Edward, that is the question. What do you think the answer is?
Yeah, I mean, I would love if it's just noise, because if that's the bottom line, okay, it's going to go away. But if they actually start ratcheting up these tariffs as they're talking about, I mean, it's going to harm American corporations. We've heard Apple saying, look, we can't just import all of this stuff and then not charge the consumers more. Or now the alternative is we're going to make iPhones in Silicon Valley. It's just going to be way too costly if American corporations have to manufacture everything here.
Do you think that's where we're really headed, though? I mean, shutting down the walls and...
I mean, it would be a huge disaster if these things actually materialize. We cannot build everything in San Francisco, in Palo Alto. The Apple Corporation is competing internationally with Samsung, and to put them in that competitive disadvantage, they're already going to lose market share.
So, Edward, let's just look at the economy, since that's what you do, and try and figure out what we got from the jobs report and GDP. Those numbers have been incredibly strong.
Yeah.
So where does this lead you?
Yeah, we've got, an increase in 200,000 people on the payroll. Yeah. Wages are up, all sectors, all levels of education, nearly 3%. So overall, it's actually pretty good. We've got an economy that's humming in pretty much all areas. There's some soft spots, maybe with the housing markets, with potential increases in interest rates, which would be expected. But really, things are moving along quite well.
Phil, what do you tell people to do? Because we are sitting at or near these new highs, and it's been a while. We've kind of earned our way back to that after sitting there in January. What happens at this point? Is this something that you're betting on and saying, yeah, we're going to continue to rise?
Well, the short answer is we're playing both ends against the middle, I guess. So we at the end of the second quarter, had encouraged some clients to take some chips off the table. Remember, we took 3% out of our equity overweight, anticipating that there would be some softness in the third quarter, 5% give or take. But we've encouraged the clients to say, okay, if we do get this air pocket, we still have a very powerful fundamental view of how the rest of this year is going to end up in the fourth quarter. We still have a 3,100 S&P 500 forecast.
Okay.
So
what's the air pocket, though? Is that 5%?
Exactly. So if the market were to pull back into that 27 to 2,800 level, we've been telling clients we think that would be a good buying opportunity, knowing what we think we know right now, and we think we'll end the year on a high note.